Hey everyone, Joey here, and today we're going to check out the brand new GameSir G7 Pro controller. Or, as I'm calling it, my absolute favorite current controller going forward. And I think you might too by the end of today's video. The GameSir G7 Pro is $80 US with pre-orders already up, and the official release date is today, July 29th. There is two colors, Mech White and Shadow Ember. Personally, I'm a big fan of the white because that's what I have here today, and I think it looks awesome. The black looks alright, but my choice is the white. Unboxing and doing a very quick check through of everything in the box, and we have the controller, of course, and we'll be talking about that a lot today, so let's move on. We also have a charging dock included, which has a door at the bottom for you to keep your 2.4 gigahertz dongle inside. That way you never lose it. There is a set of swappable D-pads, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Then, under everything, we have a super long 3-meter USB-A to C cable, and that is for you to connect this to your Xbox console, because that's what this is made for. Lastly, we have some booklets, and there is also a free month of Game Pass, because of their partnership with Xbox here. Okay, so let's talk about the features. This is packed to the brim for $80. It has tri-mode connectivity, that's what they're calling it, but it basically means that this works wired for Xbox consoles, wireless for PC, and it has Bluetooth for Android. That wireless for PC is a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and it has the best latency that you can get. The sticks here are TMR sticks, which feel fantastic, and they are a nice upgrade over Hall Effect sticks. Having used the GameSir Cyclone 2 for a while now, which also has TMR sticks, I've come to enjoy this upgrade quite a bit. And they are doing the same thing here with the G7 Pro, and yeah, if you haven't used TMR sticks, they're awesome. We have a micro switch D-pad with swappable options. There is the circle, then a normal cross-style D-pad, then a combination between circle and cross. Personally, I find that the circle fits my style the most, and it is also the most comfortable, so I'm going to be sticking with that in today's video. The D-pads are fairly easy to swap. I didn't actually know what the right way is of doing so I used my hands for a few of them, and then I had to find something to pry them out for the others. But they aren't too difficult to just pop out, so it's pretty easy and they do stay in nice and tight. So it's a good option. The D-pad itself is super accurate. I tested it out a lot in different games, including Street Fighter V, and I had no issues hitting any moves. Now, I'm not a normal fighting game guy, mostly just to test that this can do the moves in Street Fighter. And yeah, it feels good, it feels great, it is accurate. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a great D-pad. On the button side, for anybody familiar with the Cyclone 2, those are very tactile and clicky buttons. And I wouldn't say that there is a ton of travel on those. On the opposite end, the G7 Pro seems to improve upon that by feeling very similar, but with more travel, and overall, the face buttons feel a lot better to me. I even tested it compared to the Xbox controller, which has consistently been one of my favorite controllers, and I use it for modern gaming a lot. And while those bottom out and have more travel, I find the G7 Pro is a lot more accurate with how they made them. The G7 Pro feels like a nice in-between between the Cyclone 2 and an Xbox controller. It's a nice mishmash. On the top, we have fairly silent shoulder buttons with accurate button pressing, no matter where you choose to press on it, and that's a good thing. You can also just remove the top USB-C cover thing that they have, which I chose to do when I was wireless, but I kept it on when wired. There's an extra set of buttons here at the top, which are L5 and R5, and you can map and use those however you want in GameSir software and other software. We'll talk about GameSir software later on. Then we get to the triggers, and testing them for accuracy. They have great range of motion, and they can easily match wherever you're pushing down. And you can also get to 100% really easily. The triggers go even further by having micro switch trigger stops, which you can enable and then turn them into digital style triggers. This is a feature that has been showing up on more and more controllers, and I absolutely love this. It's a nice option for those that want to just get right to digital instead of analog in certain games. On the back, we have L4 and R4 back buttons, which you can also just turn off. Another feature that I absolutely love, and the Cyclone 2 doesn't have. You can use the little micro switch to slide over, and now they are locked and they can't be pushed down. As somebody who rarely ever uses extra buttons, this is a great feature for me. Then we have a slider for Bluetooth, center, and 2.4 GHz dongle. Now, I've yet to discover the purpose of the center part of the slider, and their manual didn't really help either, but I did use it when I was connected with my Xbox Series S in wired mode. So maybe that is the real use case, although I'm not sure. Lastly, on the bottom, we have a headphone or microphone jack, a mute button, and a pairing button. The 3.5mm audio is supported by 2.4 GHz PC as well, if you want to use the dongle, and it is not just Xbox. But again, this mostly does just tie in to Xbox because it is a partnership with them in some way because it is designed for Xbox, and that's the reason why this is here. Now, in the hands, this controller feels just fantastic ergonomically. I think the added grips on the side is the best addition here because in comparison to the Cyclone 2, this feels a lot nicer in the hands, and the Cyclone already felt pretty nice in the hands. This is just an upgrade, because of these grips especially. I would easily and without hesitation put this at a 10 out of 10 for comfort. I am a massive fan of this controller for comfort. It feels like the perfect combination between an Xbox controller and a GameSir controller in every way. They got the best parts of both of them. Doing some testing, and I wanted to check out each use case, starting with the Xbox console use case. I'm going to be using my GPD Pocket 4 here with the HDMI in that it has as a monitor, and I'm going to be using my Xbox Series S as the console. So any real input latency that you see on screen is because of that. But the controller is just a joy to use. I had no issues with the connection. As soon as I plugged in the cable and turned it on, it all worked, and I could use the Xbox button, other buttons, everything worked out really well. Since I was testing out Lost Odyssey here, I mostly wanted to make sure that the triggers and buttons worked for accuracy, and they did. Now I'm going to be honest, there is probably no world where I would ever use a controller wired with any console, including my Xbox. So I don't know how well this feature is going to play with a lot of people, maybe that don't use wired controllers like me, but it is the only way that you can use an Xbox Series S with this controller. And that is just down to how Xbox and Microsoft have their things set up. They don't allow wireless controllers, according to them, for third party. I ended up playing some more Forza Horizon 5 as well, just to doubly test everything on the Series S. And the more that I use this controller, the more that I absolutely love it. I have tested a lot of GameSir products. This, by far, is my favorite. Pulling out the Lenovo Y700, and I used Artemis to stream from my PC, and I tested out some God of War just to see how the face buttons and shoulder buttons do. To me, it all feels natural. There isn't a single thing that has stood out to me as something that I'm not liking and not enjoying. This controller nails everything that it goes for. Lastly, it was testing out the D-pad and the 2.4 GHz dongle with Street Fighter V. And once again, I am not a fighting game person, but the two moves that I know how to do, which is Hadouken and the spinny kick thing, I forget what the name is, Hurricane kick, whatever it is, both were extremely easy for me to pull off. And between this and platformers, I'm a really big fan of this D-pad. And you can swap it if you don't want this style, so yeah, they nailed it here. Let's end off by talking about the GameSir Nexus software. If you download their software and connect your controller to the PC, you can adjust a whole bunch of things. And when I say a whole bunch, I mean more than you would ever need to change. First, as always, you want to do a firmware update, and you can do that right at the top, and it didn't take very long to do, but it did take a few minutes. Then, taking a tour of the software, you can adjust a ton of different things. Like, if we jump into vibration, you can adjust the levels of vibration for each piece, the triggers and the grips. You can also test them here. I'll be honest, the grip vibration is actually super cool to test, but on the highest levels, it can shake out of your hands. But it is cool. In the triggers tab, you can adjust the dead zones, the curves, and even the hair trigger mode, if you want to. You can also do this for each individual trigger, so you get a whole whack of customization here. In the motion tab, anything and everything that you want to do with motion is here. And I am not really a gyro person, so I couldn't really tell you what half of this does or how it works, but it is here if you want it. Sticks is similar to triggers. There's dead zone adjustments, curves, stick trajectory, and you can also go into advanced. You can change the sensitivity and more if you want to. Lastly, there's the button screen, and you can remap buttons if you like. The home screen has easy access to some of these settings, or you can adjust the reporting rate and so on. You can also create profiles and easily swap between them with hotkeys on the device. All in all, there is more than you would ever need from a software perspective here, but it is everything that you do need, which is cool. I have to keep reminding myself that this is only $80 because for everything you're getting here, there's a lot. But let's wrap things up here. There's only so much you can say about a controller in a review, and I like to keep things short. We don't need 40-minute videos on controllers. Easily, this is the best controller that I have ever used and instantly became my favorite to use. I don't know what else to say. I don't do a lot of controller reviews, but this one stood out to me as leader of the pack so far. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro gaming. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.